Right. The drama. The drama, brought to you by Pepsi Max. Let's go. So, Blizzard announced something, and it all got a little bit spicy, didn't it? So, they said, with the weekly schedule maintenance tomorrow, we're making changes, seeing a lot of player feedback. Many world quests associated with the main factions will now reset daily, was semi-weekly. The Maruk Centaur will continue to be semi-weekly. Now, this is one of those things. I have a feeling that they're not lying here. They've got a lot of feedback. But sometimes, think about the person who posts on the WoW official forums. Actually, don't.
Try not to.
Yeah, really don't try to do that. But the WoW official forums are a very insane place sometimes. And even that doesn't capture the, silent majority who probably are looking at this and be like, where's my content?
Yeah.
I saw comments from people who about this design disagreement said that, full on this proves Blizzard are terrible and I'm quitting. It's like, whoa, okay. But I guess it's just that thing in the internet. Sometimes you look at the comments. I find it especially, sometimes on our Warcraft channel, mostly in our news channel, comments in our news channel are such a fucking unhinged gutter sometimes. Now, there's people who do actually post, well thought out opinions and obviously, good quality shit.
God bless them.
But then there is some there was one yesterday where I saw and I was like, wow, this person has really extreme opinions about Halo. And then I clicked, actually, okay, don't go to my screen, but I'll find the video title because it was endlessly funny to me. Yes. It was like this thing about Halo. I'm like, whoa, okay, that's an extreme comment. Okay, who are you? And I clicked, and one of the videos on their channel was celebrate the demon Bonnie Ross is finally gone. Thank you, Lord. #fire343.
Yep.
And the video started with this guy being like, brothers.
Halo is free from the Harpy's clutches.
It's like, holy Jesus. Is this okay? I guess that's just to say sometimes comments can be so unhinged that it's kind of hard to believe. And I did see quite a lot of that around this. The overall, I guess the context is the semi-weekly thing. A bunch of people liked that because it just felt like, you can feel complete with, only 2 mandatory logins a week, which realistically, I think the people thinking about that wouldn't really be doing 2 logins. They'd probably be doing more than 2 logins, but it's just the fact that it feels all very doable and achievable that makes it feel okay, makes it feel better to them. Yeah. For a lot of people, they're like, you've just reduced 5/7 of my content's gone. Where's my content?
Yeah.
Blizzard's removed the content. And I feel like that was maybe the feedback they're responding to here. So,
a lot of that is because, you look at the map, and the map has always been, you see the map and that's what the content is. But World of Warcraft has definitely moved away from this expansion, where you don't just open the map and go, it's all the content. I mean, that does happen, but once you've cleared out the world quest, you're like, what do I do now? And that's a genuine question. Some of it is some of it's a usability thing where Blizzard haven't made it super clear that a lot of the stuff is there to do, like the Rathion rep grind, digging up dirt, whatever all the small things do, the rares and stuff, the picking up treasures. I didn't know, because I haven't been playing with handy notes, I didn't know that the ley lines, I mean, obviously this is fucking 5 minutes of content, but I didn't know there were ley line caves in the Azure Span with the little crossing ley lines or uncrossing the ley lines minigame that gets you an achievement. I didn't know about that until Tom in our guild got the achievement. I'm like, fuck, I didn't see any of those. And then I went and looked for them. I was like, oh yeah, class. And I did them. Even though the God Blizzard, can you make those uncrossing ley lines? Can you make a hard version of those? Because those are fucking take 30 seconds. If even take 10 seconds once you actually remember how to click.
You're gonna break so many mythic raiders.
Yeah, sorry, was it Lorgox? Yeah. But there's loads of
made one mistake back in Legion.
Yeah,
has not been allowed to forget.
Yeah, so there's some of it is people been trained that the map tells you what the content is, and that's fair. But there is that interesting problem of Is more world quests more content? Yes. But, like, it's also shit to do. It's a chore, but it's also content. And they have to find the balance of when does it feel like a chore, when does it feel like content. Because I really like them being bi-weekly. Because if you told me to do, especially when it's like repeated content anyway, obviously a lot of it is like, a lot of the world quests are new and fresh, which are nice. But the idea of me going, okay, well, I go do my chores, my world quests. I have done my world quests. And I had some fun doing like the water glider one. You know, I did the dragon races again and beat my time. Oh, that was fun. But I think the thing is, it's the difference between having stuff to do and having stuff you want to do. Sorry, having stuff you have to do versus having stuff you want to do. And this is the way people described it, right? Where you go, oh, well, there's nothing I have to do. What do I do now? And the answer to that is log out because your brain's been poisoned by rewards. Or the answer is, oh, I can do whatever I want now, sweet. And it feels like if you have bi-weekly world quests, that means that instead of every day you log in and go, oh, I'll do world quests. What do I do now? Oh, I guess I'm done. Versus you log in, there's no world quest, you go, what do I do? And then you know there's lots of things to do.
Profession.
It's the proportion of time that's spent doing things you feel you have to do, I think. And that's where this expansion's been a big win overall, because if you do your bi-weekly world quest and they don't take that long, especially because a lot of them are really, really slow. Or sorry, the other one's fast. The one where you like pick up the supplies and that's like 10 seconds. Or even like the dragon racing ones. Obviously you have to wait for the countdown in time and like talk to the bronze timekeeper.
Oh, so much work.
But those are like a minute all in.
Yeah.
And they're done. And then you dragon ride to the next one. That's a minute all in. And it's like, yeah, that felt like fun. Didn't take very long. Oh, I guess I'll go do something else. What do I have to do? Oh, all the content in the game. But you need to know all the content's in the game so you can actually do it. And I think that's where the problem ultimately lies. People are going, no content. But they're used to being forced to doing content. Whereas, because the world's your oyster. The world's your oyster. And people are going, oh, I don't want to make a decision. What do I do? Shit.
Put me back in the maze.
Yeah, it's basically...
Bobby, rebuild your base.
Yeah, give me a list of chores so I know my chores to do so I can do them and be done.
That's so many games.
Versus the intrinsic fun of... And it's not even like...
Look at Lost Ark. You know,
exactly.
Like, where I need my dailies to get my materials.
Yeah. And it's like...
Modern games.
Yeah, it's like... It's not even... it's not even about intrinsicness. It's about the... Like, because obviously you could argue intrinsic versus extrinsic all the time and go, well, nothing in World of Warcraft is done without a reward, so it's all extrinsic. But it's still like the amount of having to do versus want to do.
Yeah.
I want to go and work towards this thing by digging up dirt. Sure. I want to go and get my Rathian net farmed out. Sweet.
Like with this current pacing, I have done world quests and felt completely fine with them.
Yeah.
I haven't been annoyed or anything like that.
Yeah, it's all about the proportion of time. Like I'd love, like it's that thing where if you could hunt down an individual who's like, oh, daily, there's not enough content, world quest should be daily, and you go, right, show us your fucking lore master then. Oh, you haven't done it? Yep, then shut the fuck up. Which is a very aggressive way to do it. But it's technically true.
If you want rap, yeah, they both give side quests.
Yeah,
I guess that's it. They've trained people to play the game in a certain way for a very, very, very long time. I guess that's the thing that maybe most of us would struggle with. Mm-hmm. We didn't start playing the game in Legion. There are people, I mean, think of the most mazed and caged man in the universe.
Yeah, I can
THD.
see him, yep.
The poor bastard. He is stuck in that cage. He just wants the cheese, man. But like all these, they start playing in Legion. And like, if you did that, then the sorts of things that we consider to be world content don't exist to you.
Yeah.
Like, right? World content is circles on the map that I go to and finish every single day. And they have done that for 3 expansions in a row. That's 6 years.
Yeah.
Right? They have been doing world quests for anima for 6 years.
I'm so sorry.
And that is the game.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Right? And now it's different.
Yeah, no, it's back to the way it used to be, sort of slightly a little bit.
That's different. Yeah, it's different as hell.
It's different, and from my perspective, it's better. But it's weird because I don't want to be too prescriptive around how I think about playing the game. Okay, I really do want to be, but I understand that that's wrong. But just a list of daily world quests is not a game. That's just a way to fucking waste your life. obviously that could be brought to like anything, like doing anything's a waste if you're not, etc., etc. But it is like just go and do the stuff you want to do. It's like people are pointing out that like
people aren't used to engaging with like a big game.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the difference. World of Warcraft feels significantly larger than it has any time recently. And that in itself is quite an interesting observation when you think about how, in a way, it isn't. Like, it's just how the stuff's being sliced and diced up. Now, I think it is a pretty big expansion, like, generally speaking, like, number of side quests, you know, quantity of content. But there's just so many little things in, like, different little categories in the world that, you know, that kind of, it wasn't really like that in the past.
Yeah.
Or at least in terms of the reward systems, it wasn't as much like that in the past. But yeah, people have been trained into a game that's structured more like Destiny for ages.
It's the entire way the industry has moved for the big games, and that's why like even the whole free-to-play thing, where that's how free-to-play games are made, because you download the free-to-play game and it goes, oh, here's all the shit to do, and you're like, I'm hooked on all this content. As opposed to the more exploratory nature of don't log in, have some fun.
Back in the day, I could just go and play surf maps in CS:GO for like or Source for like 3 or 4 hours and have fun. I could just play COD 2 for like 4 or 5 hours. More than that, just have fun. It was just fun. I was trying to get better and defeat other players. There was nothing else to it.
Yeah.
You know, I could just go into 2 Fort. And sure, you get the odd hat or something. But for the most part, no, I'm just having fun in 2 Fort.
Yeah.
So there's no broader, you know, purpose. And now everything is tied into you could almost call it a role-playing game where the ultimate number is account value.
Yeah.
And you know, account value, what's that? Oh, it's an opportunity for player investment. You know, so you want players to get pretty invested in that way. You know, of course, financially as well. But that feeling of investment is also like a little bit of the sunk cost fallacy. It makes people more sticky, makes them less likely to leave a game. So it's kind of like this interesting way that the whole industry has trained everybody to play games. Because I think to a lot of these, the answers of player retention and free to play, and then just more broadly, we've all just kind of coalesced on very, very samey answers to that question. And that means that the industry as a whole is just, you know, train people to play the games in a certain way. And even, you know, with Destiny 2, like, because we kind of bring that up as a prime example, their director recently just said, yeah, actually, we know what you mean about the game being boring as fuck. No, he didn't phrase it like that. But basically, the Destiny 2 players are just kind of saying, so, you know, we get 4 seasons a year and all that. It's all the same. Everything's the same now. And then, you know, the people at Bungie are like, you know what? You're right. It kind of is all the same, isn't it? Sadly, it won't be until Q2 2023 that we can really act on your feedback because of the development pipeline. But we hear you. And it was just interesting seeing Destiny, a game that we've criticized for some of those things, talk about that. Right, talk about the inherent downsides there. I even remember, was it for weekly content or something like that? At one point, their leadership said something to the degree of, okay, we'll make more things seasonal rather than weekly or something. I forget exactly what it was. But it again was it was essentially them responding to that, like, I think a fairly generic piece of player criticism that you could level at like a lot of broader, just like live service gaming these days. I just thought it was interesting.
I think there's been the homogenization of game design in a whole bunch of ways, but it's largely like the systemic design and the player retention design, all that stuff. And that's where it's been homogenized because those are systems that you weave into your game. So you can have World of Warcraft feeling like Destiny. You're like, well, how does that make sense for different games? Yes. But the progression system, the experience stuff is all kind of the same. So I feel like ultimately the way that bi-weekly World Quests fits into this discussion is that bi-weekly World Quests is them intentionally taking a step away from being a daily list of chores. You can look at a list, like even the list we just had on stream of all the stuff you can do, right? You could put that into Things 3 or some sort of like to-do-ist. You could put that into a to-do list and like check box it out yourself. But that would still be you doing that and deciding to do that instead of the game deciding to do that for you.
You should make a template of that.
Yeah.
Just because I
the
think a lot of
awful-
people are overwhelmed.
Yeah. But then once you frame it like that, does it suddenly feel different than playing a game? Does it feel like getting all your content knocked out than just playing the game?
We'll try to help people and inadvertently destroy the game. Whoops.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think that Destiny is probably suffering from it in the same way World of Warcraft is, where people feel that and go, it's all the same. Yeah. Grab me one as well. It's like, it's all the same stuff, right? It's all the same feel. And you look at so many games and they're all the same thing, but with a different framing, a different layer on top. Like, obviously, you can have... so Frankenberry says, you did that, but you're enjoying doing it, and that's to help you organize the alts. That's the thing, right? Where a lot of players like playing like that. I even like playing like that sometimes, where even like me throwing together the flowchart for that I'm going to throw in a video soon was very much me going, oh, yeah, this is like a mental framework for how to organize playing the game, because you want to get stuff out of the way, you want to play things, you want to feel like you've completed stuff, right? That's a universal thing. Even playing, I didn't quite finish it before Dragonflight came out. Playing Harvestella, I was looking at the achievements and like the encyclopedia list, going, oh well, yeah, I'll get every fish, I'll get all the items, I'll make all the food, and that's not just having fun. That's like structured fun. That's like, I'm sure there's like a load of like child psychologists in terms of how children play that could be brought into this, but there's so much of like different types and styles of play that fall into that. And I think it's about letting people do that if they want to, versus prescribing that. Prescribing it's a way to make it work and get hooks into people. But the industry has been prescribing the methodology of spreadsheet gameplay for so long that a lot of people are used to that, even though they're maybe not accustomed to the other way. And that's where you're going to have interesting things where, I guess, as a good example of like Diablo 4, right? Diablo 4, from the previews that went live, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, talk about the cinematic, looks fucking great. It looks genuinely really, really solid. Looks like they've done basically everything right in terms of the dressing of the gameplay system, where it's, if you think of, here's your list of content and your spreadsheet style gameplay, and then here's the other layer, which is the actual, what you consider the rest of the game. They've done the rest of the game really well. But then you look and you see, oh, you've got a battle pass, you've got XP, you've got all this stuff, and that could be fine. But I imagine a lot of people play it and still go, why does this not feel experientially any different to other games? Obviously, it's got different dressing, but it's the same kind of idea at the core, I think. And that's where the bi-weekly quest feels good to me, because Blizzard are intentionally going, we will move away from this model and see how it goes. And that's why, because they said when they weren't going to do it, they said, following your feedback here and our own internal discussions, we're going to find other ways to accomplish that. Makes me think that they're internally sitting and going, yeah, we are intentionally going to try and see how this works. Do you think because they haven't had data of not having daily shit all the time.
Do you think they flinched? Do they flinch a bit because of some initial feedback, make the decision, and then whenever they made that decision, they just activated all the people who were happy with the change they made but didn't necessarily express it? Then they're like, okay, we clearly underestimated how much people actually like this new thing that we've done. How do we make the initial group of people happy? Yeah,
and then you look at things they've been like changing a little bit of stuff to make it a little bit more tenable. Like these are probably different, not too super connected, but the 25 dragon skulls is 5 now. That was a hotfix at the start of this week. Yeah, that was a hotfix just after reset in Europe. Someone was saying earlier, the Trial of the Elements has a marker on the map now.
Oh, good.
That counts it down from 15 minutes, I think. So you can see Blizzard going for the other ways to make people go, oh yeah, you want to do things every day? We'll try to make that happen for you, but we're not going to make this change. And I think this happened where they saw the feedback, like you said, they flinched. They saw the feedback of there's not enough shit to do every day, and they probably went, that's obviously a player experience problem. We need players, what if they log out and don't log back in? Fuck, okay, we need to solve this. But then I imagine they sat down and talked about it, and then whoever, the dev team, maybe they came to maybe there's people split on it, maybe there's people who like felt really strongly one or the other, but whatever internal discussion, and seeing people go, no, we like it this way. I do my world quests and then I can have fun for the rest of the day. I finish my chores and then enjoy the game instead of doing chores every day. And then the internal discussions of they're holding the line. And them holding the line so if this was in isolation, I would say maybe they're just trying something out. But this combined with every other change that I've seen them make in terms of the philosophy of how people are going to play Dragonflight has me thinking they're literally going, this is a problem that our game faces of just checklist and short content. We need to pull back on this and see what happens. So I'm really hoping that whenever they add world quests in whatever new zone in 10.1, and it's just like, here's their bi-weekly again, or even weekly, if I see that, I will actually celebrate, because I will know that the data that they've gotten has been positive, and I'll be like, people are responding to not having a checklist of chores. We're going to be free someday. I don't know when, and obviously the dark patterns will win en masse across averages, but as you know, it's the reason more people eat McDonald's and Whole Foods stuff, etc., etc. The dark patterns win, but for a group of people, they've lost. The dark patterns have lost, and that's like music to my ears. Hopefully, if they continue this way.
Yeah. So overall, good stuff. We'll just have to see. Do they do anything? Maybe they'll decide to spawn a few more world quests.
I would love for someone to interview. Like, if someone gets interviewed for 10.1 and like talks to Ian or any of the like assistant directors about this, I'd love that. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely.